I am Dr. Nate Akbij, and in this 4 video, I'll be giving a quick summary of my 2023 article, Relationships That Persist and Protect, the Role of Enduring Relationships and Early Adult Outcomes Among Youth Transitioning Out of Foster Care. This article was written in collaboration with my colleagues, Ethan Park, Jenna Powers, Justin Hardy, and Mark Cordy. So we really had 3 main research questions for this article. One is we wanted to know how common are enduring relationships. These are long-standing supportive relationships among youth who recently exited foster care, and do we see differences by gender, race, ethnicity, and sexual orientation in the percentage of youth that have an enduring relationship. Second, we wanted to know whether characteristics of enduring relationships differ from characteristics of relationships that are more short-lived. For example, relationships that youth have formed in their late teenage years but ultimately faded away, or relationships that youth didn't form until the early 20s. Finally, and this is kind of the main research question, does having an enduring relationship promote positive outcomes and stave off negative outcomes for youth who recently exited foster care? So this paper comes in a conversation in child welfare, where there's really an increased interest on relational permanence and the role of longstanding relationships, both with kin and non-kin. We wanted to see, whether having enduring relationships does have a real impact on youth outcomes later in life. Okay, so the data comes from the longitudinal Cal Youth study, and in particular, we drew on data from the age 17 and age 21 interviews. We matched Cal Youth data to state administrative data and also National Student Clearinghouse data, which we used to create several of the outcomes. 608 youths were in this analysis. These were young people who completed both the age 17 and age 21 interviews, and who also had all of their social support data collected at both of those interviewees. So in total, these 608 youths nominated 3,575 distinct individuals who they said they could turn to for emotional support, tangible support, or advice across these 2 interviews. So what we did is, out of these 3,575 individuals, we identified the people who were nominated as support, both at age 17 and age 21. And those were the enduring relationships. Everyone else was classified either as a faded relationship or as an emerging relationship. We used chi-squared to test for disparities in enduring relationships, and we used different types of regression models to examine whether having an enduring relationship promoted positive outcomes and prevented negative outcomes after we controlled for a whole bunch of characteristics that could influence those outcomes. So what we found is that slightly more than half of youth had an enduring relationship, but about 48% did not have an enduring relationship. We didn't find statistically significant differences in the percentage of youth with enduring relationships by gender or sexual orientation. However, we saw that Black youth and Native American and Alaska Native youth were less likely than their peers to have an enduring relationship. We also saw that Latinx youth were more likely to have an enduring relationship than their non-Latinx peers. Another finding is that enduring relationships tended to reflect characteristics of strong ties. So they tended to be with family members or individuals who youth considered to be family-like. There tended to be a lot of relationship strain, and these were people that tended to provide emotional support and tangible support. So in terms of the impact and the outcomes, we saw that youth with an enduring relationship were less likely to experience several different types of hardships, such as food insecurity, economic hardships, and homelessness. They also earned about $3,100 more between the ages of 18 and 21. We also saw that enduring relationships with specific types of people, such as peers, increased some outcomes. For example, youth who had an enduring relationship with a peer were more likely to finish some college than to finish just a high school credential. So the implications, although the results are not causal, findings do indicate that having an enduring relationship has real material benefits in how youth fare when they transition out of foster care. And this really pertains to preventing hardships. The findings align with calls to amplify relational permanence in child welfare services and policies for youth who transition out of foster care, alongside strategies that support self-sufficiency and legal permanence. And in general, the prevalence of enduring relationships needs to increase for all youth. This is especially true for Native American, Alaska Native youth, and Black youth. So you can check out my website, nateockbridge.com, for a one-page summary of this article, how to request a free copy of this article, and also for other 4 and 4 videos.